guys ever stared at a half-finished sketch, overwhelmed and thinking, maybe I'm not good enough? This video is for you. I'll take you through every step I went through from sketch to finish and share the parts no one talks about, the self-doubt, the moments I almost quit. Here's why I didn't and why this one drawing changed the way I see my art. You will see my full process, technical and emotional tips. Watch till the end for the full reveal. So, this all started as a simple idea. I wanted to paint a larger cinematic scene. Something emotional with soft lighting, featuring my character, Xiao, who I redesigned in another video. Feel free to check that out first! The concept was to show her as a nature guardian, bringing a dead tree back to life. But the more I worked on it, the more I realized this wasn't quite what I wanted yet. Usually I start by collecting inspirations on Pinterest and putting them on a mood board. This really helps me visualize the idea in my mind. This is my mood board. Here, for example, a few pretty photos with pretty lighting, some landscapes from Bali and everything that inspired me. I'm still not very confident with environments, so I really needed those images. Since I don't fully understand perspective yet, I always look at photos of real places to study how the space works. But buildings still intimidate me. My biggest tip when starting a drawing: don't wait for the perfect idea. Just start throwing ideas down as small thumbnails first. It's totally fine if it looks a bit messy. I went through 3 thumbnails I wasn't happy with. I wanted her to be the focal point with her tiger behind her and plants all around. Maybe she was standing in the rice terraces of this land. But it still didn't feel right, even though I liked parts of it. Then I remembered something I once heard. Clarity comes through doing, not thinking. So I kept working on the idea, but decided to sleep on it. And then, the next day during work, a new idea hit me. So I quickly sketched it out before I forgot. That was the idea I have been waiting for. And I couldn't wait to start at home. Yes, that really is my sketch. After that, I refined the sketch using references for poses. That really helps. Mine looked a bit off at first, so I changed it. Don't be afraid to make changes, it usually turns out better. Trust the process, trust yourself. Next step, base colors. For both the characters and the background. And here's something important. Don't stress if your colors look weird at this point. You can always adjust them later. Honestly, that's what saves me every time. Sometimes I use photos as a base to help me see the scene more clearly. Or I pick colors from them, it's super helpful. Pro tip, look at photos of inspiring real-life places, it helps so much. Before I even start coloring, I ask myself, what else could live in this world? The scene still felt a bit empty, so I started imagining what this lush environment might include. Birds, bugs, flowers, different kinds of plants. Sometimes it's those little background details that make a place feel more alive. New ideas often pop up during the process. Add them in, it's your world, build it as you go. Then came one of the most important steps when painting, the grayscale test. It helps so much with values, form, light and shadow. Basically, everything that gives the artwork depth. Because without depth, a piece looks flat and kind of boring. You can see here, my first version looked super flat. Luckily, I painted on different layers, so I could adjust the brightness easily. Quick lighting logic that helps me a lot. Things farther away, lighter and less saturated. The spot with the most contrast is where the eye looks first. Things closer to the viewer are darker and more intense. And this is how it turned out so far. Once the base colors are in, it's time for lighting and shadows. This is where most of my art either lives or dies. Lighting and mood can totally make or break your piece. I wanted the lighting to feel like early morning, soft, hopeful, calming. So I had to think, where's the lighting coming from? There are so many types of lighting directions, but I really love when it shines from the right upper side. Since this is a large piece, it makes sense to roughly plan out the light and shadow structures early on. Just so I know where the major areas of contrast and mood will be. Usually I use multiply layers for shadows and either screen, add glow or overlay layers for light. Play around and see what works for you. After that I clip the light and shadow layers to different parts of the painting. It looks super messy at first, but that's okay, we'll refine it. The rendering stage is where my perfectionism really shows up. I caught myself zooming in on tiny details that no one would ever notice. I wasn't happy with the background, so I ended up using a bit of photo bashing to fix it. As long as you can't see where the photo was used in the final painting, you're totally fine. Backgrounds are still one of my weak spots, and I tend to rush them, which is something I want to improve. Sometimes I also just get lazy, or I overthink it so much that I end up stuck. I pressure myself to go faster, because if I don't, it feels like I never finish. That's why I use a lot of pre-made brushes. They help me save time and energy. Also, tigers are hard, animals in general are. So, I had to zoom out, literally, and ask myself the one thing that matters most. What's the actual focus point of this piece? Here's a quick tip I use. If you squint your eyes, your focal point should still pop out clearly. In this piece, it's Xiuyao with the tree. It's where I want your eye to go first. Here's how I simplified the rendering without losing the painterly vibe. Work zoomed out 80 to 90% of the time. Use hard edges only where it really matters. Let the background stay loose and abstract on purpose. For focal areas, like the foreground, it's totally okay to zoom in. That's where the details go. The further away it is, the fewer details it needs. It's all about guiding the eye to your focal point. Everything in your piece should support that. My favorite trick? I work on just 3 core layers: foreground, midground, background. Then I duplicate them, refine on top, and slowly build up details in passes. No pressure to get it perfect in one go. Around this point, I hit a wall. I had already put in 10 hours. I hadn't slept well. I wanted to quit. But what always keeps me going is the excitement for the final piece. That curiosity, what will it look like in the end, pulls me back in every time. Also, remember this, with every painting you grow. So if you're stuck, take a break, look at your older art and remind yourself why you started and why you love art. You're not failing, you are growing. Now it's all about the little extras, the things that bring the artwork to life. I love working with textures, soft color overlays, and adjusting the contrast. And honestly, I love adding lighting overlays from images. Because here's the truth, I'm still kinda bad at painting complex lighting effects by hand. I just haven't practiced them yet. And that's okay, you don't have to master everything at once. I added soft lighting gradients, fixed the overall colors, and dropped in the sliding texture. Because it makes everything feel so much more magical. So, here's the final piece. I think it turned out really beautiful. What do you think? Of course, I still see flaws, but honestly, that's not a bad thing. It just means there's room to grow, and that my next piece will be even better. I think I want to study from some artists I really admire, learn from their brushwork, colors, compositions. Maybe I'll even make a video about that. It could be fun. Besides, I'll need that knowledge anyway, especially for my world building projects later on. If you're working on something that feels too big, too complicated, too overwhelming, just know this. That feeling is part of the process. You're not doing it wrong. Art isn't linear, process isn't either. And you don't have to finish perfectly. You just have to finish, and that's more than enough. Also have fun. And I have so many older pieces I don't really love anymore, but others do. So don't judge your art too harshly. Someone out there sees beauty in exactly what you made. I really hope you join me on this journey. If it helped, inspired, or just entertained you, consider liking and subscribing. Maybe you'll also like some other videos I've made so far. If you have video or art suggestions, drop them in the comments. Bye bye, see you next time!